Now, what's happening here is that we have a thread which is capable of replicating itself. That's what the little star here means. Upon an output, this thread will fork off a copy of itself to handle the input that matches the output. So these two will communicate, leaving a thread that is going to receive or is willing to receive a communication on the session channel, taking both request and some arguments to the request. Once it receives such a request, then two more threads get forked off. One is simply to output on the request channel the arguments, and the other is to runs in parallel with that, which is to line up to service something happening on the work channel with some arguments, or something happening on the stop channel. So if the request is either work or stop, then this service will take action. Notice that if it's a work request, then it will essentially eat the arguments and trigger off a call to the handler, making another version of this thread available to handle session requests. If the request is a stop request, it will eat the arguments and will not trigger a handler, and therefore it will not be available for a session request. And because the handler channel is essentially private to this thread here, can't be seen by the outside world, this thread will effectively be incommunicado forever. That's essentially what's going on. Now, I know that the notation is a little bit, may seem a little bit tricky. It's a lot to absorb all at once. But what I found is that if I try to start from the outside with the general grammar for the notation, people, despite the fact that of its simplicity, it's easy to get lost. And so, on the other hand, if I begin with an example, that sort of creates a hunger for the general pattern, and that's sort of where we want to go to next.